So this is a 2014 Kia Optima SXL, which is in this model the highest that it goes. With that SXL, it comes with the quad fog lights. It came with the chrome trim, the chrome 18-inch wheels at the time. The interior was a big difference. It came with some stitched Napa leather, which was like my big selling point. Because otherwise, besides those other cosmetics, drivetrain and everything is the same as the SX model. It's still the same turbo and all that. But
and what size turbo engine is that? It's 2.5?
It's a 2.0.
Okay.
It's a pretty small turbo, hence the boost that we run to it.
And as I understand it, you didn't actually know you were buying a project, did you?
No, I've always been into cars my entire life. First got into cars living on Long Island, was more into like mini trucks and sound systems, and we did SPL competitions. I'd actually drive from Long Island to Carlisle All Truck Nationals and compete in SPL. Mechanical things were definitely not my strong suit, still isn't, but I just love sound systems growing up. And so had 87 S10 Blazer that we put, a wall in and took seats out. Then when it came to moving on, I was finally getting a better job, and I was like, I want something that's a newer car, all the bells and whistles, and something that I can really enjoy. Driving back and forth to New York is a 6-hour, 7-hour drive. I wanted good fuel mileage, but also something that had some pep, and I've always been interested in turbo cars. The fact that these were turbos, they were so many different add-ons on this car for the price compared to everything else in its class, the Accord, the Passat. I was surprised, I was like, what's wrong with this thing if it's got all these different features and it's cheaper than these other ones? I actually was looking at this white one, but they never got back to me about it, and so I was driving up to Akron, Ohio to get a black one, which I was settling for because I didn't want the black. I wanted white. Always wanted a nice white car, and this is actually the pearl white, which I was a big fan of. And as we're driving up to Akron, I get a call about this car from that dealer, and I was like, well, yeah, let's make it happen. It was actually at this place where they were selling like used Mercedes and Audis and all these nice cars. This was just their car that they were driving around, and I was like, they're just driving this around as like the beater, and yet to me this was like creme de la creme. I was like, I can't wait to have this thing.
So where did you start? More importantly, I guess, why did you start? You were already creme de la creme. You were like, hey, I got my turbocharged car.
Yeah.
It's comfortable. I can do my long drives in it. What made you say, well, maybe I'll just do
Well, what happened was, I always knew that I wanted to do something eventually like wheels. Actually, when I bought the car, just needed new tires really bad, and I went to get new tires, and then the guy's like, well, why don't you throw some wheels on there? Not really looking to do that right now. I was like, oh, I can do a package deal. We just got these new wheels in. I was like, I kind of wanted to go with the white and black look. That's always how I wanted to go. And so he brings out these big polished lip black wheel. I was like, man, I don't know if I really like it. He goes, why don't you try the red? I was like, I don't think I'd like red. Red wheels? I don't want to be that guy with red wheels, It just kind of seemed not my style. I don't want to be too flashy with it. I just wanted something simple and nice looking. We put the red wheels on, and since then, that's like the number one thing people comment on. And I think it's because that anodized red on the front, but there's still a lot of black. So from the side, it's black, and it's only at the right angle. It's not overpowering red. And I think that's what kind of set the tone for the rest of the car. I got the wheels on, and I don't even know where I went from there. That's probably what led me to meet Sam at Tune the City. Big shout out to him and everybody over there that has helped me with everything on this car. I've always passed by their shop, and I was like, wonder if those guys would, have any interest in this. And I brought it over there, I think, for like a cold air intake to start, and they were just super cool because, again, like I said, I really don't know as much of the mechanics as I wish I did. Going in there, I was like, man, I hope these guys aren't those type of mechanics that just kind of give me the runaround, charging me absurd money because I don't know what I'm talking about. And Sam and the guys there were more than happy to be like, hey, let me show you what we're doing if you want to come into the shop. That to me was super cool, and I think that got me super into the idea of let's see what else I can do. So that's when I started getting on forums, and there's not a lot of people with Kia Optimas that are doing more than the wheels and suspension. Looking into it, I did find the company Lap 3 Authentic Tuning. They're like the one, I would say, most reliable tuning companies for this car. There are some other people, but just not as many people run it, so I didn't trust it as much, and they've been amazing through all the steps of the tuning that I've gone with them. But again, I'd say it comes down to going over to Tune the City and just them saying, yeah, you could do this, you could do that, and then getting me kind of excited about the process because it wasn't just going to be me dropping a car off with a part, them ordering it or whatever, and then me just picking it up. It was, hey, you want to come see what's going on? We'll walk you through the process. Maybe you pick up a wrench, whatever it might be. It's like, awesome. Okay, this is great.
Let's circle back to the wheels here real quick. Is this the same wheel size as stock?
Yeah, so it came with 18s. I kept everything the same. I bought the car in May. I think in January January. It was some type of Christmas special on suspension. It's on True Heart shocks. The kit came with actually some struts and springs for it too. I think it's dropped about 2 inches or 1.9 in the rear, something to that extent. It's a good ride height. I definitely do scrape, and I have to be somewhat careful. You kind of pay the price to have that lowered stance, which is something I've always wanted. I like the fact that with the suspension how it is, it drives just like stock, if not better. I actually think before suspension, we did the first tune. Once we started doing the tuning, I was like, man, I don't know if this is quick because I've never had a quick car, but this is kind of fun. And then I've had some other people drive it that go, that's a Kia? You know, that's got some balls to it, you know? 14, 15 is actually when they remodeled the car. So in 11 to 13 is when the Optima really had the facelift, the Tiger nose front end, the turbo motor. This is actually the same drivetrain as the 11 to 13, but in 14, 15, they changed things like LED taillights, the quad fogs. They did the DRLs up in the headlights instead of below. So I also really like some of those things. Plus the interior, in my opinion, was better in 14, 15, better navigation system. So for those 2 years that they made that, I was like, I need one of those models. For the exterior, the only changes I've done is the wheels, the in-channel visors, the wrap. Shout out to Shane, who you featured with his 350. He actually did the carbon wrap because I hated the chrome look, especially once I went with these wheels. I was like, I gotta do something about that. Carbon fiber diffuser, some mud flaps. Yeah, that's it. I do have some plans to go with a different headlight situation, get some halos in there. And
actually very surprising because the car looks so much different without that chrome on it. It looks monstrously different, but there's not much other than just eliminating the chrome.
Yeah, that and the suspension definitely helped. That ride height really gave it a good look. Kind of what I like about it. It's simple, but when you look at it, it's got some nice lines. It's pretty decent for a four-door sedan. So it started with us upgrading, because of the tune, the best way to get more power is from the mid-pipe. The downpipe didn't really need to be changed out, but I got a deal with it through a company called ATP. So it's a 3-inch downpipe, 3-inch mid-pipe, no cat. Later down the road, we added in a vibrant resonator to it once we put on the Borla catback, which was all a process. So it actually just had the downpipe and mid-pipe for about a year and a half, because there's not a lot of people that make parts for this car, and buying stuff brand new is always a lot more expensive. Waiting for the right time where something pops up and you got the money, you grab it. I actually drove up to New York to grab the Borla exhaust, I think last summer, and then finally threw that on, and that's 2.5. I know I'm sacrificing a small amount of power by not going the full 3, but I just didn't like the way the 3 sounded, and since again I'm driving it every day and it's my only car, I didn't want to sacrifice the sound. I've had some people say that they really like the way this car sounds for a 4-cylinder, and that's kind of what I'm going for. It's not too drony, hence why we put that resonator in there, just to cut down on some of it. I enjoy it.
So you started with the intake, and it's still the same intake,
okay. Engine intake. Then from there, actually, when I did the tune, I had a little blow-off sound plate at the time. Couldn't keep going with that, so I upgraded to the HKS blow-off valve, which in my personal opinion, I love that sound. That's one thing that, again, when I was saying I wanted a turbo car, is because of that. We did the catch can setup, which evolved into a kind of like a dual catch can type of situation. We did a PCV delete and then advanced atmosphere. Upgraded some of the hoses there. Put in a aftermarket cold pipe because it runs the methanol injection. That's where we spray through. A lot really comes from the tuning. Tuning and the exhaust was the biggest thing. Oh, we do have the strut bar we put on. This is the first year, 2020, go figure, that I've done nothing to it. Maintenance, and luckily I haven't had any severe problems besides the motor blowing and the turbo. So
we should probably talk about that.
Yeah,
what
so these
there?
are really well known for blowing up, and luckily there's a great warranty out there and a recall, so I brought it to the dealership before any of this was on. Luckily got it warranted. I got a brand new motor, brand new turbo, no dime to me. It's pretty fun for, again, a 4-door sedan. I get groceries, take vacations, and 320 horsepower. It's fun. So if you were to ask me the one thing that I don't like about the car, it's probably the emblems. At the time, I hated the Kia emblems, so I wanted something different, and this seems to be where everyone went. I don't know why I wasn't thinking that everyone was going to think it's a Lexus. Now, Kia actually, with their new models, have a much sleeker look, and I plan to change those out. I'm tired kind of the, hey, nice Lexus. What kind of Lexus is that? I've never seen that, Then I have to say, it's a Kia, and then they say, it's a Kia? It's a typical...
That's a Kia?
Yeah, that's a Kia. Typical response. I've had that conversation several times.